Well, the aim of this video is to analyze the painting called An Allegory of the Tudor Succession, the family of Henry VIII. It was painted in 1572 by Lucas de Heer, and it was a gift from Queen Elizabeth I to Sir Francis Walsingham. Today it remains in the National Museum of Wales, and it gives political and social insights to the world of the 16th century. The painting stresses Elizabeth as the legitimate descendant from the Tudor dynasty, the bringer of peace and prosperity to the realm. This painting shows Henry VIII, his three children, Mary, Edward, and Elizabeth, and Queen Mary's husband, Philip of Spain, alongside figures from mythology. We can infer that this painting is fiction and not an actual historical moment, because Henry and his children could have never been together under the circumstances that are presented in the painting. Henry died in 1547, when Mary was 30 years old and still single, and Elizabeth was 14. But both women in this image are full-grown adults, and Mary's husband, Philip, is included in the picture still. Therefore, the painting wasn't a 16th century equivalent of a family photo, but a picture telling us something else about the Tudor succession. As Dick Leith and David Raddle explain in Modernity and English as a National Language, the Reformation was the breaking away from the authority of the Roman Catholic Church in many parts of Europe. In the early 16th century, Henry VIII declared himself, rather than the Pope, head of the English Church. The Reformation was a complicated and confusing process with several shifts in religion. Henry was a Catholic, but he broke with the Roman Church and established Anglicanism, which was essentially like Catholicism without the Pope. His son, Edward, was an enthusiastic Protestant and did his best to promote Protestantism during his rule. When Edward died, Mary, a devoted Catholic, became queen and tried to restore Catholicism. However, after Mary's death, Elizabeth ruled and tried for her father's brand of Anglicanism. By the end of the 16th century, Catholicism was on its way out of England. And even today, it is still against the law in Britain for a Catholic to be the ruler of England, or for the British monarch to marry a Catholic. In terms of hostage, introduced in cultures and organizations in 2010, the painting reveals at simple sight the dichotomy between Catholicism and Protestantism. Henry VIII, the second Tudor King of England and founder of the Church of England, sits on his throne in the center. He passes the sword of justice to his Protestant son, Edward VI, who is kneeling by his side. On the viewer's left, there is Henry's daughter, Mary, the Catholic heir, and her husband, Philip of Spain. To the viewer's right, there are Henry's son and his daughter, Edward and Elizabeth. Mary and Philip are out of this Protestant line of Tudors, standing opposite to the Protestant succession. Therefore, it could be said that the painting represents the existing Catholics versus Protestants' values of the 16th century. Besides, this picture celebrates the harmony established by Queen Elizabeth I, and it is emphasized by the figures that are behind the two queens. These are symbols, which is another term from hostage in 2010. Mary and her husband are being trailed by Mars, the god of war, while on the other side, Elizabeth is leading the figures of peace, who is stepping on a sword, and prosperity, who is carrying a cornucopia. So, the left side speaks of disruption, of war, and the right side of peace and prosperity. Moreover, visually, the painting embraces the Protestant succession. If you follow Henry's hand, his head, and how he hands on the sword to his son, you can see him leaning towards the Protestant Tudors. Even the colors in the painting promote this idea of Catholics versus Protestants. Catholicism on the left is presented with dark colors, whereas Protestantism on the right is showed with bright colors. So to conclude, it could be said that this is an interesting statement of the natural intertwining of religion and politics in the 16th century. Through its symbols, figures, and predominant values of the time, this painting provides a strong visual statement of the strong belief that a Protestant succession was best for England after the Reformation.